Welcome back to Cheap Horsepower, everyone. What I'm going to be working on today is adding this jack shaft because the small sprocket in the end was not able to, well, let's put it this way. The power from the engine was not able to overcome the small sprocket. So I got to put it in a jack shaft to make up some of that power loss. So, testing this out, I found that it hits the carburetor. So as you can see, the holes are not quite lined up because it's hitting the base of that carb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some markings, and I'm going to cut this just enough to make up that difference. As you can see, I just made my marks with the Sharpie. So I'll go ahead and start that cut now. Very important, everyone. Make sure you have your protective gear. Cutting wheel. And these are the cuts that I'll be making. As you can see, there's the two marks there. And I've cut past the width that I need and into the depth that I wanted. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and make these cuts right now. That's all you really have to do. Should look good. All right, well, that was very successful. Looks good. It's got plenty of clearance now. I did my test fit just using a couple screws, making sure all the holes lined up, the holes do line up, and everything will bolt up nice once I get my good hardware in there. I do have to cut this chain again. All right, so I've been lining up the sprocket, and there it is, finally. Okay, so I got it lined up. That's about the size of the collar I need, because what I've done here is I've tried to push this against the engine as much as I could just to kind of get an idea of what I'm going to be looking at when I finish. And luckily there's plenty of meat on the smaller shaft. I got this engine off an edger, so that shaft right here is smaller than typical. So it's not sticking out as far, so I was worried that it was going to come out too far and I wouldn't be able to get a chain or something on there. Now, this would really help if these were one of the clutches that has the set screws. You can buy those, and that would really help in a situation like this. But I don't have it. So what I'm going to have to do is, like I said, I'm going to have to either make or get a collar that's going to fit on that shaft. I believe I have some. I just cut it to the right size, and then I have my set screw that's going to go into here and push this clutch on, keep it from coming off, because obviously that would be bad. And then we should be good. And then I might actually have a cover for this, but I kind of like how it looks open in the air like that. You can kind of see all the, you know, mechanical pieces moving together. The other thing I thought might be an issue would be this hitting, but I had the engine oriented right a little bit earlier, and it seemed like it wasn't going to hit. But if it does, I'm going to cut part of that and, you know, go from there. But that's about where it should be. Let's see. It looks like it may or may not hit, depending on how the engine sits. So I'm going to try and make those little tweaks here, see what's going to fit, what's not going to fit, and then kind of go from there. All right. I get to use my favorite tool again. I just want to mention that at the very end, I'm going to take this and I'm going to smooth it out. See that? that's what you want it to look like. It'll help it thread in, so when it actually goes in, the nut will be threaded fine. This one is the very end of the piece, so it looks like it should be fine as far as threading in. They've already done something there, so yeah, that'll help. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this one in the very bottom, and the reason why I'm doing that is it'll lock in. Okay, so what I've done here is I've passed this bolt through. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in one of these retainer nuts here. And what that's going to do is that's just going to help secure everything and keep it straight up and down. This will now go all the way through this piece here in the motor. And actually I need two of them. Sorry, so let me back that out and I'll show you why. And then at the very ends of each of these, I'm going to put a lock nut. And that lock nut is just going to secure from both sides if I can ever get this thing on. Geez. Maybe I'll make it easier on myself and do that. Okay, so now what this will do is I'm able to feed this in. There it is. I can see the head. Let's get a better angle of this. Now, as you can see there, that's going to hold it from the bottom. I'm going to swing this puppy all the way down. That's going to help secure it from the bottom. And then I've got plenty of slack on the bottom I'm going to cut off. But that lock nut is going to lock against the base of the bike. And then this one, I've got another lock nut for, so I'll lock that one in at the top. And then I have a little bit of adjustability here. I can tighten this more and get the motor to go a little bit more forward or come back a little bit. And then I do have another side, which I'm going to put in and do the exact same thing. All right, so I've got everything, I believe, ready to bolt up now. Let's see if she's gonna play nice and fit for me, because the engine is bolted up and the orientation it's gonna be in. I'm gonna put in 2 to test, and it looks like she's gonna be nice to me. And my neighbor doesn't know I'm filming. And I figured I'd do a little bit of a tech update. So I finished up the jack shaft. I also had cut off a bottom piece to that what would have been a swing arm if this had suspension, but that bottom piece is no longer going to be there. Now it is strong enough to hold itself together the way it is. The reason is that reinforcement piece in the middle, and the other side is completely rigid like it was before. This was mostly old, rusty, bad metal anyways. Actually, it wasn't even bad. If you look, that's all clean metal. So it really wasn't like rusting through. There was a couple weird spots that definitely would have weakened it, but getting that piece out of there really wasn't a big deal. And all that allowed me to do is, if you can get a good shot of that, is get the chain to flow much better without hitting that bottom end of the swing arm. So it's all together now, and actually it's fast. I would say it's going to top out around 30 most likely. I also got this thing out of the way. It was hitting the tire, but yeah, it's looking really good, performing really good. Starts right up. I can pull it once with the choke and a little bit of throttle, and it fires right up. And then it idles. I can throw the choke down and go full throttle down the road if I want, and it is awesome. It's actually really comfortable too. I was surprised at that, but the only thing that's left is that exhaust. Needs that exhaust so bad. All right, so I got my exhaust done. It looks really good too. I mean, you know, for what it is, makeshift exhaust. But I got a little small piece of the intake pipe that I had left over stuffed into here with a nice little aluminum gasket, which does the job. And this does quiet it down, actually. So I put a pipe on over this, and then the exit's down over here away from my legs. So when I sit down on this thing, it's not hitting my leg. It's not in a place where it's going to burn me. It's actually stuffed underneath the seat. I don't even touch it. That's why I put the spring over the fuel line so it doesn't burn it. It works. Surprisingly, I thought the fuel line was not going to work in this setting, but it does. It actually works really good. I might have better luck routing it this way, possibly. And that's worth looking into as well. So yeah, maybe. It's really tricky because I don't want it to go uphill, and I mean it's really hard to get it right without, you know, going too crazy. So, or without getting a fuel pump on there. But anyways, long story short, it is running and able to ride. It's really fun, actually. Rides great.